Wartawan kanan Astro AWANI Ashwad Ismail dan juru kamera kami Syamsul Kamal Abdul Latif adalah antara lebih 540 aktivis keamanan yang berada di atas kapal induk Mavi Marmara yang diserang dan sehingga ini nasib mereka belum diketahui.
Ashwad, can you tell us what happened that day?
Well, 2010. Yeah, it was 9 years ago. So basically I was on board this ship full of activists and of course international activists, not just from Muslim countries but international activists as well, including European and American. And we were on board Mavi Marmara, the main ship was trying to break the siege of Gaza back then. So basically it was an international humanitarian effort to break the siege and try to convey the message of peace to the international community regarding what was happening in Gaza back then. And yeah, so basically that's the bigger picture of what happened 9 years ago. And I was part of 12 Malaysians on board the main ship Mavi Marmara, and my cameraman and I, Shamsul and myself, were the only Malaysians here on board that ship back then. Yeah. Well, basically the bigger picture as far as I could recall, Mavi Marmara was one of the main ship of total 6 ships in the flotilla were boarded in international waters, I think around about, and we were from Turkey trying to break the siege of Gaza, and the confrontation happened in the international waters, I think around 130 kilometers or 8 miles from the coast. And what happened was we were ambushed by the Israeli army and commandos, and the commandos of course landed on the largest ship, which is Mavi Marmara, by descending on every single thing that they have, from helicopters, from the commandos boats, and of course clashes broke out immediately, and the Israeli commandos definitely opened fire, which what we have seen, 9 people died altogether, and most of them, I think all of them, Turkish activists.
How affected are you by this event? Do you have PTSD?
Well, yeah, good question. You know, being a journalist, we always prepared for that, right? And me by myself, being unbeaten guy to go again to Gaza. 3 months after that, I went back to Gaza via land. 3 months after that, I went back to Gaza via land, Egyptian border, Rafah border. So I think because for me, it was a failed attempt during the first to enter Gaza. So we need to get those stories out from Gaza. So 3 months after that, I went back to Gaza through Rafah border, through Egyptian border, and then I stayed in Gaza for 5 to 6 nights, almost a week, just to get the bigger picture and the understanding, and also the culture and how does it like. Because we've been spending with the same issues for more than 7 decades. So I guess the best for us is to see, to witness, and to feel, and to get the stories out. Yeah.
How did this event change your life?
Well, it does change in terms of understanding, try to find in terms of from journalism. I guess we need to make sure sometimes it can be very biased, and if you take a look at the bigger picture of the narrative Palestinian and Israeli conflict, right, we are trying to find what are the new things that actually can push forward on the table for the peace deal between these two entities. Number 2, from people's point of view, there's a lot of young people now have different views on how to achieve peace. Politically, there's a lot of governmental affairs happening around Middle East, right? But when it comes to people-to-people relationship, they are trying to find, halfway, try to compromise on a lot of things. But that's the most important grassroots stories that need to be out, and try to understand that it's actually not about throwing stones or bombs, but education and youth empowerment, human rights when it comes to women, and those stuff being galvanized well in Gaza. And they have a lot of people with, highly, not to say highly skilled, but they were eager to learn and to obtain more knowledge about a lot of things. Speaking of that, I guess it changed a lot in terms of understanding some part of the world need those stuff. We have almost everything here. It's easier for us to go to universities and learn new knowledge to begin with. But some part of the world is very hard to do those basic stuff.